Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Welcome to a new day. Are you counting the decades as they spin by and you realize that time is moving very, very quickly and you're feeling a little bit nervous about it? Well, take courage, be strong. There are lots of reasons why we should celebrate getting older. I know that's a bit of a shock to hear someone say that, but I think it's true. And I want to go over with you some thoughts today that might give you a perspective as you reach those decades, 60 and then 70 and older. So one of our bloggers, Randall Hartman, wrote this article, and I just love it because it reminds me all the time of the things to be grateful for. I think if there's one thing that's come out of the last couple of years, it's a sense that life is precious. Every single second is precious, and that the years are opportunities to grow and get deeper in understanding who we are, what's important to us, and it's nothing to be feared. That, you know, getting older is exciting and there's a lot of opportunity for us to embrace. Now, society, of course, doesn't help us with this. We are living in a really, really youth focused culture. And especially in the United States, I think it's really hard to feel that you've got the kind of opportunities and the things that you can enjoy and define you as you get older. Society tends to define you, but it's not the way it has to be. And I think if there's anything I've learned from the 60 and Me community and the women in this work group around the world, is that we are doing our best to create a new life and to be vivacious and strong and contribute and to be visible. Not so visible in the sense that you have to be proving yourself all the time, but that you can make a difference, that you can be important in other people's lives, your family, your friends, and the world in general. So, society tells us that getting older is the ultimate enemy, that we have to fight it all the way, that we have to get all those anti-aging potions and creams, and we have to start looking young in order to be taken seriously. That somehow it's this steady decline after you reach the age of 60, where you're just not relevant anymore. So how can we start celebrating that we're over 50, over 60, and that we have a tenacity and a resilience and something really positive to contribute? Okay, first thing, and Randall does a great job of sort of putting these into 7 reasons. The first is that we're nearing the top of a mountain, right? We're not going downhill, we're climbing. We're growing, we're deepening our understanding of life and of the world has given us a perspective. And that perspective, I think, makes us very, very unique. Now, there was a great quote by Steve Jobs about not being able to see how things are connected until you get to the end. Now, we're not at the end yet, but we are getting closer to that point where we're starting to look back and just see at a glimpse why things happened the way they did. What things happened that sort of paved the way for the next thing. And it's like a puzzle. You've got the edges of the puzzle all put together, and now you're starting to fill in the center. And that is a reason to celebrate getting older. I don't know, I find myself now maybe less judgmental of myself, less judgmental of other people, more accepting of differences, more accepting of diversity in the world, because I'm not listening to society's rules anymore. They don't work for me anymore. They never have really when you stop to think about it, but it's so true. Second thing is related to this. The second reason for celebrating getting older is that you honestly do not care what other people think. And I know that I have an identity. I know I have in society, I'm seen in a certain way, but I honestly don't mind how people judge me. I go out wearing, what I want. I mean, I think all of us have a style that we feel comfortable in. So I'm not saying to go crazy, but the clothes you wear communicate who you are, what your values are, what your colors are, what your spirit is. And I like to wear necklaces. I like to wear fancy necklaces. I like this one actually. I haven't worn it in a long time. I really do enjoy it. But why not? I'll go out like this. It doesn't matter. No one else is wearing pearls. I'll wear pearls. And I think that's a really second point, is that we care less about what people think. Another thing is that learning becomes important. I think being a lifelong learner and being curious and having that kind of curiosity and wonder for life is super, super important. And it's all about, just having a creative expression to your life, knowing that, you are able to be creative. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be just knitting, could be sewing, could be painting, it could be writing, it could be all kinds of things, but it's your thing, it's your creativity. Another thing is that we learn about what's important to us, and that kind of goes back to the perspective, is that I think if anything's come out of the COVID situation for me, it's that how incredibly, incredibly important my family is to me. You know, we have stood by each other for the last, well, many, many months, like most of you. I don't know when you're watching this, but right now we're still in the middle of this pandemic. And my sons and their partners and the children, my grandchildren, have all been such a support. And we've got to know each other better, you know, and I've learned that, yes, I still want to travel. I still want to do all those crazy things that I've loved to do when the world was not like it is today. But I've just decided and discovered that it's my family. Nothing is more important. Absolutely nothing. and that's another reason to be happy for getting older, as I see that now. I feel it with all my being. So the next thing is that we learn to live each day as it comes. You know, and Randall talks about, you know, what books have you read this month, this week, today? What book did you pick up? And he says, if you actually right now in your life, maybe you have 20 years of this beautiful life left in you, is if you started to read a book every month, you'd only have 250 books to read. I mean, that sounds like a lot, but really it's not. And there are so many books. There's so many movies. There's so many beautiful things to experience. And we are now, and one of the beauties about aging is that we've got a little bit more time. Maybe if you're retired or you're just not needing to work in the same rhythm, the same number of hours, you can do some of those things. You can be a lifelong learner and you can make every single day count. Another thing that he talks about, which is one of the 7 reasons that you can celebrate being older, is that whether you kind of identify with it or not, you're being kind of a sage. You're starting to be the wise woman. And, you know, I know a lot of people come to 60 and me in their 50s and even younger. And even though we're 60 and me and our community is mostly women over 60, a lot of younger women come and want to know what it's like being 60. And they're inspired by us. And there is a certain wisdom that I think is respected, especially actually young people in general. I know I went on a nomad cruise once and I was with 250 young people they're around average age 30. You know, they were young and they were, just starting off in life. And I had so many people come up to me and ask, you know, just for advice, just perspective. And I think you become the sage. And, you know, many cultures celebrate older people. This is kind of, you know, one of the roles that they acknowledge we play as we get older, and we're the village, crone. I mean, I know that word is a little bit harsh, but it is the crone. It's the woman who understands, who gets it, who sees the connections. Even silly things like, how do you do something? Well, this is how we did it when I was young, and it worked for me. And it's that kind of wisdom of experience and age. And I think I've actually written an article about this, about how women during the pandemic have actually been more important than ever before because of that, because we actually give a perspective, give that lens of life experience. And I think it's been super important to be strong and to be, and fortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, we've been able to have the first access to the vaccines. So I think that's again given us that sense of importance and security, and that we matter and that it's important. So I think we talk about our legacy. We think about the legacy and, what we're going to leave for our family, what we're going to leave for our children and grandchildren. But I think what we leave is this: who we are, the experiences that we give to them, the words that we share with them. Yes, you may have a little money to give, you may have a house, you may have whatever you have to give on, to pass on, but I think the living legacy that we're creating right now is just simply in showing that we love life, that we enjoy every single precious moment, and we're not afraid. That we're not afraid of getting older, that our lives have been full and rich. And I know so many people in our community have had challenges, big loss, big traumatic things that have happened. But I know and you say, well, what reason have I got to be happy? And also, if you've had any kind of diagnosis yourself, any kind of other thing that's going on in your life. But, no one's happy with the wrinkles. The wrinkles are growing. And, the gray hair and whatever else. No one's happy with that. But go ahead, embrace it. Just be at peace with that. Be thankful that you have got a breath in you and that you've got something that you can leave for others that is precious. Fall in love with getting older, says Randall. And I love that. So what do you celebrate about getting older? all the things that I've talked about here. What are you celebrating as you get older? Leave your comments in the section below. Let's have a conversation. I love reading your comments, and I join in when I can. But just tell us what you're celebrating as you get older. What are the reasons that you think we can celebrate and acknowledge this beautiful time in our lives? Okay, so take good care, everybody. Have a fabulous day wherever you are, and sending you lots and lots of love. And we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye for now.